Lakers brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers, Chris McGee, James Worthy, Allie Clifton. Brez and Trudell will join us a little later on. The Lakers in the middle of a 4-game road trip. Should be a great one tonight. Sparks head coach D. Fish. D. Fish was going to be here. He's going to join us for post-game. He was scheduled, but the news recently broke that his star player, Candace Parker, will be leaving the team to join the Chicago Sky after 13 seasons in L.A. We are friends with Candace. We work with Candace. We wish her luck with her new team. All right, let's get right to it. It's going to be a fun one. Lakers will look to continue their historic start on the road tonight in Philly. They have won 10 straight away from Staples to start the season. That is tied for fourth best start on the road in NBA history. Remember the Warriors that year when they won, 74, 73 games? They were 14-0 in the road. The Spurs were 13. The Celtics have done it twice at 10. And here are the Lakers. Big game, a win tonight in Philly. Lakers got that Celtic you-know-what on the horizon coming up on the weekend.
Yes, sir. Can't wait for that one, but can't overlook that one until we take care of this one in Philadelphia. Another big test for the Lakers. You know, it started Milwaukee. That was a big one. You know, they've really been trending in the right direction. Of course, Doc Rivers has this team playing very well, and the Lakers will have to really, play another good game collectively to get it done. So expecting to win, and it'd be nice to keep that record going.
Are you surprised, Allie, with the shortened offseason, new pieces, that they're 10-0 on the road?
I think I'm more just impressed.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can be surprised just knowing how much this team valued the defensive end of the floor, bought into what it would take to be champions, and wanting to run that back. I know we have talked about it a lot on this show. As former players, you guys have talked about kind of, what it's like to be a champion. And when it was such a shortened offseason, they're still kind of feeling that vibe and that energy. So I don't think I'm surprised. I'm just very impressed.
And you mentioned the Sixers, James. This is the one kind of everyone circled. They're the best team in the East right now. They're hungry. They know the champs are in town. They're out to prove something tonight.
They have to prove, given what they've experienced the last, couple of seasons, have a new coach coming in, that's a new direction. So, led by Embiid, obviously, who's having a pretty good season. It's early, but it is a good sample of what could be, without fans, there's really no advantage or disadvantage, I would say. But so they have to get it done as a team. Philadelphia will be ready because this is their biggest test this season.
Yeah, I mean, Allie, for Philly, they're looking at the champs coming to town. This is their chance to make a statement.
And look, as much as we're talking about the Lakers being 10-0 on the road, they've won 9 of 10 at home. So they defend their home court. And you mentioned the storylines coming in, the defending champs. You've got 2 of the best, 3 of the guys that are being talked about for early season MVP. But also, and then Dwight and Danny and all those fun storylines. But I think something to keep in perspective, which I found interesting when I looked this up, was that of those 12 wins that Philly has this season, only 2 have come against teams that are 500 or better. That was against Boston without Jason Tatum. So, look, you can say that they've handled their business and beat the teams that they're supposed to, but I think this one sets up to be a different kind of matchup.
And as we kind of go to the Lakers, LeBron James, he has great games all the time. We always run out of ways to describe him. But the special ones are really fun to talk about and watch, James. And he had one of those in Cleveland. 46 points, 19 of 26, 7 of 11 from 3. It was one of those nights where you knew he had it going early and everyone just watched. 21 points in the fourth quarter. That's one of his best fourth quarters of his career, James.
He put on a great show. And to me, it all started with the Milwaukee game. Not getting the MVP, going to Milwaukee, proving himself there. Then AD going to Chicago, going home. And then, of course, LeBron. I mean, Alec can speak to this. That's his place. He talks about how he missed his kids, what Akron meant to him. Started in Cleveland, went to Miami, came back to Cleveland, gave them a championship. So, yes, I can't imagine it not being a special moment when he goes home. Say he saw his mom, saw his uncle. So, yes, he put on a show.
Allie, I've been wanting to ask you this for a couple of days. You've seen all his games for 7 years. It's always good games. A lot of great games, but there are special ones. Was that a special one?
Oh,
it sure seemed like it.
It's special just because, as Anthony Davis said right away in the postgame, When he's putting up 17 in the first quarter, you know he's on to something.
Yeah.
Then you see that he's got his fadeaway going, and then you add the element to the fan who I know very well, and since the name is out there, and Jason Hillman, it completely shocked me that he would take it to that level. Completely had a moment there. And I think what we've learned is when it comes to players like that, they don't need a lot of extra motivation, but that's something that they use to fuel them.
Remember the virtual fan in the bubble? Lakers would put Jason Gilman in there every single time, right? When it was a Laker home game, just put his face right there.
I mean, he was into it.
He was giddy.
He was glad he missed that shot.
LeBron looking at him like, we're going to talk about that later in the show. All right, Lakers and 76ers, they are coming up at 4:30 right here on Spectrum Sportsnet. This will be the first time since 1985 that these teams will be meeting with both teams in first place in the West and the East. For the latest, let's check in with Laker reporter Mike Trudell. True, what up?
Hey, what's happening, guys? I don't know, Gator. Maybe save that for the postseason or something.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Yeah. Although, break it out.
A little giddy, Mike. He was a little giddy.
I like what you're saying, though. I like what you're saying with that. Hey, so tonight's game, Allie made a great point about Philly 12-2 with Joel Embiid playing, and then only 2 of those wins came against teams with plus 500 records. Of course, Tatum didn't play well. The Lakers have everybody available tonight, but Embiid is the center of the scouting report, right? He leads the league in free throw attempts. He's having his best year by far as a shooter, particularly from the mid-range. So there's a lot that he's doing right, and I wondered to start with Frank Vogel where they focus their energies with Embiid.
Well, you start by putting them at the top of the scouting report, and you talk about all those things. You know, that's what a large part of our meeting was about this morning. Is the discipline that you have to play against him to try to slow him down, take away his airspace without putting him to the free throw line. So, it's going to be a tough challenge, but a good test for us.
I know it's a little different that you don't get the chance to spend a lot of time, but just having Danny and Dwight there, what they meant to the team last year and what you've seen from them here in Philly so far.
Yeah, I miss those guys. It's just tough to see them move on to different teams. They meant, they were 2 guys that really, really starred in their roles, and that's so necessary on a championship run. And, we don't win a championship without those guys. So, they're very much missed, and I'm glad to see them doing well. I look forward to seeing them in person.
Hey, Frank, I kind of wanted to ask you about seeing those guys in person, because normally on this trip, this might be an opportunity for you to see Dwight and Danny sort of off, maybe dinner last night, and I'm sure you have family in this area that would normally come to this game. What's it been like to you to kind of experience a little bit of that and some of the restraint involved with a trip that otherwise might have been kind of fun for you?
Yeah, it's hard. I haven't seen, my family, and last time I saw them was last time we were here, and that was just for a quick dinner. So it's been a long time. It's something that you hope to be able to do, but we all understand the restrictions. My parents and brother and family, they all understand the restrictions. I understand the restrictions. It's just the nature of what we're in right now, and we're essentially still in a traveling bubble. We have to stay in basically around ourselves only, and just minimize any potential exposure risks. And that's just the nature of this season. So it's difficult, but everybody gets it.
All right, there's Frank. Loved that highlight of Danny Green's tip back put back dunk with Dwight then smiling going back and down the floor. By the way, Gator, first time the Lakers will see essentially 48 minutes